Welcome back to the series. If you're just joining us, this is the video number 2 of 4, and we're breaking down all of the changes to financial aid in the last decade. All trickled by the One Big Beautiful Bill law that was signed July 5th of 2025. Video 1, we did a full overview, Pell Grants, loan limits, repayment changes, and all the new things at a high level. If you missed that video, I encourage you to go back and watch it. I'll drop the link in the description button, and maybe you will see it here on the screen as well. For today's video, this video is particularly for high school students and their families because for high school students, the FAFSA has changed and Pell Grant eligibility also has changed. And the families and students who understand this best will save thousands of dollars. Let's get into it. Here's the thing about financial aid that most families don't understand until it's too late. The decisions you make before completing the FAFSA matter more than what you do after. And under the new rules, this is more true than ever. The One Big Beautiful Bill Act changed how your eligibility is calculated, what happens when scholarships are involved, and how the form itself flows. If you're working off old information, or worse, no information, then you could be depending on money that you're no longer eligible for, or you could be leaving thousands of dollars on the table. In this video, I'm going to walk you through the FAFSA changes, help you understand your SAI, rethink your scholarship strategy, and show you how to fight for more aid if your offer does not reflect your real situation. This is the video I wish every family had before their student's senior year. Let's go. Let's start with the FAFSA itself. The free application for federal student aid has not changed. It is still the foundation for everything financial aid. What has changed is how the data determines your eligibility for financial need. If you've been researching financial aid for a while, you probably heard of a term called the expected family contribution, or EFC. That is no longer, it is long gone. Now it is called the Student Aid Index, or SAI. Same concept, different name, but how the calculations and the eligibility determine your financial need has changed under this law. Now, here's the thing. You want to file this as soon as possible because there are certain institutional and merit-based aid that is a first come, first served basis. So you don't want to leave money on the table. Now, the FAFSA opens October 1st of every year for the following academic year. So the 2026-2027 FAFSA form is currently open. The 2027-28 application will open October 1st of 2026. This means that if you are a current high school senior and you're planning on going to school, you most likely already completed your FAFSA form on 2026-2027 application. But if you are a junior and you are looking or considering going to school after starting your senior year or applying to schools, then you will complete the 2027-2028 application, which again opens October 1st. So speaking of what you will need you and your parents' prior tax information. So if you are completing a 2027-2028 application in October 1st, then that also means that you will need to have 2025 tax information ready. So you will need to have W-2s, your bank statements, and a record of any untaxed income from 2025. So it's important to note here, if your family's income has changed from 2025 significantly, meaning there's a loss of job, there's been some medical expenses, things that might not have been covered in your 2025 expenses, even including family size, such as a divorce, you need to document it. And in this video, we're going to talk about appeals, but for now, make that note, if you're saying that your current year is not reflective of what you had in 2025, documented. Let's talk more about this SAI. So, if your SAI is 0 or below 0, yes, you can have a negative number. Then that means you are eligible for the maximum amount of the Pell Grant award for that academic year. And you'll be prioritized for institutional-based aid. If your number is between SAI and 14,790, you're also eligible for the Pell Grant. Now, the exact amount of the actual award will be based on a sliding scale, and how close your number is to 0 determines how much of that maximum Pell award for the year that you'll receive. But if your SAI is above 14,790, then that means you are not eligible for a Pell Grant. That is the hard cutoff. And for many middle-class families, that can be a real shift. Now, as I mentioned before, the biggest factors that impact your SAI calculation is income, assets, and family size. Now, you can't change 2025 taxes. That's already been filed. There's nothing you can do. But you want to talk to a college planning professional before you start moving money around because you think it's going to lower your SAI. Don't make changes without knowing for sure if it matters or what the law allows. Okay, let's be clear. We don't want to falsify any information on this FAFSA form. It is a federal document. The government is really paying attention to fraud. So don't go in there starting to change or do inaccurate information thinking that it won't make a difference. You do not want to be detected for fraud in any way when it comes to filling out this form. So what if you're a high school student and you're not ready to actually submit the actual FAFSA form yet? Can you determine what your SAI is, or at least get a prediction? Yes, you can. There is something called a aid-estimator that you can actually use now. So if you are a junior in high school, or even if you're a senior and you're thinking about taking a gap year and you just kind of want to know what your SAI numbers would be, I highly recommend going to this website, studentaid.gov/aid-estimator. And this is where you can input information to determine and get an estimate of what your student aid index will be, and therefore you will have an idea if you will be Pell eligible. I encourage you to run it now because it only takes 20 minutes, 1, and 2, this will help you to even have a stronger list of schools that you want to apply to and have an approach and how you're going to pay for school. Now, because you know I'm all about helping you, and I want to make sure that you are getting this information and understanding it in an actionable way, I created a new law family playbook just for you. Now, in this playbook, you'll be able to walk through each section that I'm talking about in this video and determine what your SAI is. You can determine your Pell eligibility. You'll also be able to see about scholarships and how to really create and start to create that college financial plan. So the link is in my bio. Go ahead and check it out. I think it will be a great resource for you and your family. Okay, so this is the section that I get the most questions about, and let's jump right into it. If you are a family and you were used to an old strategy, let's talk about how that has changed and what the new strategy is and how you should start thinking about it when it comes to scholarships and paying for school. So under the old rules, this is how it worked. You'd find a school, they'd offer you a generous merit-based scholarship or institutional grant that could have covered your tuition, your room staying on campus, or even your board, which is your meals. And on top of that, you'll be able to get your Pell Grant if you were eligible. Now, that's free money on top of free money. Great strategy, and really helped a lot of students who were able to get maybe a possible refund check from that merit-based aid to pay for other things that they needed for school. It was a legitimate and powerful strategy, but under the new laws, that is gone. Now, the new laws say if your non-federal grants and scholarships from an institution or outside of an institution are equal to your full cost of attendance, you no longer are eligible for a Pell Grant, even if you were determined to be eligible for a Pell Grant because of your SAI. So what should your strategy be for scholarships? Well, you actually have two strategies. One, you can have the strategy where you're only looking for institutions that are going to at least be a little lower in their offering for merit-based aid so that you could receive your maximum Pell Grant. The issue is that you still want to determine what is the amount of the award that you will receive. Again, not everyone will receive the maximum amount of the Pell Grant Award, which again is at $7,395 for 2026-27. So if you're only eligible for 3,000 of that, then you have to be careful about only considering schools that are going to offer you a lesser amount of merit base because you only have $3,000 of Pell Grant. You don't want to be left off with a balance. The other strategy is to diversify your scholarship sources. So again, this is scholarships that are mostly from the institution. So if your institution is providing you merit-based aid and you still have eligibility from your Pell Grant, then great. Sometimes outside scholarships from private organizations will count differently to your institution. So here's the thing, you want to research all of your top school scholarship policies. How do they look at outside scholarships from private organizations and how do they apply it to your account? The other thing you want to do is you want to calculate your net price for each school. Now, I know going to the website seems like the smartest thing to do, and hey, it tells me that it's $40,000 a year, but that is just the sticker price. You want to know the net price. What is it actually going to cost me to go to this school for 1 year? This will give you the ability to really do some clear calculations of this is the cost that it's going to cost me for 1 year minus any other merit-based scholarships or aid that I'm going to receive, and then seeing what your balance is. If you're Pell eligible, you'll be able to have a clearer idea if you need to apply to more scholarships or not. The bottom line is this, scholarships is still the end goal. You want to make sure that you do not have to take out any extra debt and that you don't have a balance to pay for every single year. The only difference is that you can no longer stack your Pell Grant on top of it. So the student and the families that understand this the best are the ones who win. So be smart, think about this, what is your strategy going to be, and then execute. Now here's something that your schools may not put on their website in big letters, and this is your ability to appeal your offer. Yes, you heard me right. Your financial aid offer is not final. You can appeal, and you should if your circumstances warrant it. So earlier I talked about documenting if there are any changes. This is where this comes in handy. An appeal is an appropriate time for a family to share the documentation of the actual financial situation of that year. That might be different from 2 years ago. Another legitimate consideration is if another school you're considering actually offered you more aid. The reality is colleges are competing for the best students to attend their institutions. So if you are between 2 or 3 schools and those top schools of consideration for you have offered you a better package than maybe your top choice, then you can bring that to them and say, can you provide a better offer for me to consider? Now there's a strategy to do this, so listen up. How to appeal. Step 1, you want to call your financial aid office, not email, call and request a professional judgment review. Professional judgment is the term used for a FAFSA appeal based on special circumstances. Step 2, all those documentations I talked about earlier, this is where you get to submit that information. So every school has a different process. So when you speak to that financial aid representative, they will tell you how to submit that documentation. The more specific your documentation is, the stronger your case. Remember, these are human beings reviewing your files, so you want to be respectful, you want to be specific, and you want to follow up, especially if you have not heard back from the time frame that they said that you would. If you are comparing offers from other institutions, you want to write a clear letter stating the competing offer and asking if the school can match or improve theirs. Remember, schools do this all the time, and the more families realize that, the better that they might be in at least reviewing actual offers that make sense for their family. All right, let's bring it home. This is what I want you to do before you stop watching this video. 1, run your SAI estimate at studentaid.gov today, not this weekend, today. You need to know your number, so that way you can plan effectively and strategically on how you're going to pay for school. Number 2, build your school list around net price, not prestige or sticker price. You want to run the net price calculator. Every institution has a net price calculator on their website. Go and check out yours. Number 3, start your scholarship list now. If your student is a junior or a senior, you should have at least 10 applications in progress. Yes, 10. You want to have a scholarship tracker. You want to know what you've applied for. You want to know when you're planning to hear, when the announcement of the winners are, and you want to always have an opportunity to have scholarships to apply to. The more money that you have access to for free, the less debt that you will have in the end. Number 4, file FAFSA October 1st or as close as possible. Yes, if you are a junior or you're a senior, then you need to set a reminder today. Go to your calendars, write it on your refrigerator calendar for October 1st is when the FAFSA opens, and you need to get your application in so you don't miss out on any of those first come, first serve money from the institutions that you really might want to attend. In number 5, if your family had a significant financial change in the last year, document it now. You might need to start collecting all of those documentations and be prepared to at least create an appeal now. If you're a senior, you've already applied to schools, we've already started to receive your financial aid offers, this is the time that you want to appeal. So go ahead, make that phone call, and then start to submit the documentation in the directions that they've given you. The point is this: the families that pay little to no debt for college are not the luckiest, and they're not the wealthiest. They just have a strategy and a plan. And you're doing the preparation right now that matters. So if this video gave you clarity or revealed a gap in your current plan, the next step is to get your full picture in place. Again, this is why I'm encouraging you, and I'm going to offer for you to take advantage of our new law family playbook. This walks through everything that I discussed in this video so that you can create an actual plan of how you're going to pay for that institution of choice. The link is in my bio. Go ahead and check it out and let me know if you have any questions. But this is going to help you to understand how much that you need to apply. It's going to help you to understand if you're Pell eligible. It's going to help you understand what schools that you really should be looking at. And if you're hitting any of those loan limits that we talked about in video 1. Again, if you have not listened to video 1, I encourage you to go back and do so. I encourage you also to share this video. Next week in video 3, I'm shifting the focus to current students who are in school right now. Yes, there are some key things that impacts you, and I want you to meet me here. So if you have a student who is currently in school, make sure that they turn on their notifications, subscribe to this channel, so that way they get the alert for next week's video. Again, it's always a pleasure to share with you and to help you and your family to avoid crazy amounts of student loan debt. Till next week. Bye-bye.